Him or us? Shannon. Make a choice, ma'am, Joey said. Him or us? Numb to the bone, I sat on the rickety chair at our kitchen table, with the tea towel pressed to my cheek, and held my breath for 2 reasons. First, my father was less than 4 feet away from me, and that particular piece of knowledge caused my body to switch into shutdown. Second, it hurt to breathe. Dropping the blood-soaked towel on the table, I twisted sideways and tried to rest my side against the back of the chair, only to groan in agony when a surge of pain coursed through my body. My flesh felt like it had been doused in gasoline and set on fire. Every inch of my body was burning, screaming out in protest every time I inhaled too deeply. I was in trouble, I realized. Something was seriously wrong with me, and still I remained exactly where I was, exactly where Joey had placed me, without an ounce of fight left inside of me. This is bad. This is really bad, Shannon. The sounds of my little brother's sobs and sniffles as they huddled behind Joey were almost too much to bear. I couldn't look at them, though. If I did, I knew I would break. Instead, I focused my attention on Joey, taking strength from his bravery as he stared our parents down and demanded more, as he tried to save us from a life that none of us were getting out of. Joey, if you just calm down for a moment, Mam began to say, but my brother didn't let her finish. Wholly enraged, Joey erupted like a volcano right there in the middle of our rundown kitchen. Don't you fucking dare try and talk your way out of this! Pointing an accusatory finger at our mother, he snarled, Just do the right thing for once in your fucking life and put him out! I could hear the desperation in his voice, the last sparks of his faith in her fading out fast, as he implored her to hear him. Mam just sat on the kitchen floor, her gaze flickering over each one of us, but never once moving to go to us. No, she remained exactly where she was, by his side. I knew she was afraid of him. I understood what it felt like to be petrified of the man in our kitchen, but she was the grown-up. She was supposed to be the adult, the mother, the protector, not the 18-year-old boy whose shoulders that role had fallen onto. Joey, she whispered, giving him a pleading look. Can we just... Him or us? Joey repeated the same question over and over, tone growing colder. Him or us, ma'am. Him or us. 3 words that should have held more meaning and importance than any other question I'd ever heard. Problem was, I knew in my heart that whatever answer was given, whatever lie she told herself, and us, the end result would be the same. It was always the same. I think in this moment my brothers realized that too. Joey certainly did. He looked so disappointed with himself as he stood in front of our mother, waiting for an answer that wouldn't change a thing because actions spoke louder than words, and our mother was a living, breathing puppet with strings that our father held the reins to. She couldn't make a decision. Not without his permission first. I knew that even though my younger brothers were praying for resolution, this was going to be an anticlimactic moment. Nothing would change. Nothing would be fixed. The first aid kit would be brought out, the blood would be mopped up, the tears would be wiped away, the cover-up story would be invented. Our father would disappear for a day or 2, and then everything would go right back to the way it always was. Promises made, promises broken. The Lynch family motto. We were all shackled to this house like a great oak to its roots. There was no escaping this, not until we all came of age and got out. Too worn out to think about it, I slumped in the chair, taking in everything and taking in nothing at all. It was almost like a prison sentence with no parole. Sagging forwards, I clutched my ribs and waited for it to be over. The adrenaline inside of me was dissipating at a rapid pace, replaced with more pain than I could consciously endure. The taste of blood in my mouth was thick and potent. The lack of air in my lungs was making me feel lightheaded and woozy. My fingertips danced between numb and tingling. Everything hurt, and I was done. I was so completely done with the pain and the bullshit. I didn't want this life I'd been born into. I didn't want this family. I didn't want this town or the people in it. I didn't want any of it. I want you to know something, Joey finally bit out when she didn't answer him. His tone was ice-cold as he spat out the words I knew were churning around inside of him like poison that needed to be exorcised from the pits of his fractured heart. I knew because I felt the same way. I want you to know that I hate you more right now than I have ever hated him. His body was shaking, his hands balled into fists at his sides. I want you to know that you are no longer my mother. Not that I ever had one of those to begin with. He clenched his jaw, striving to keep the pain inside of him from expelling. His pride refused to allow him to show emotion in front of these people. From this moment on, you are dead to me. All your shit, handle it yourself. The next time he hits you, I won't be there to shield you. The next time he drinks all the money and you can't feed the kids or get the electricity switched back on, find some other asshole to get cash from. The next time he throws you down the staircase or breaks your fucking arm in one of his whiskey tantrums, I'll turn a blind eye, just like you did right here in this kitchen. From this day on, I won't be there to protect you from him, just like you weren't there to protect us. I cringed with every word that poured from his lips, feeling his pain in the deepest part of my soul as it mixed together with mine. Don't talk to your mother like that, our father snarled, tone menacing, as he hauled himself to his feet, all 6 feet and 200 pounds of him. You ungrateful little... Don't even think about speaking to me, you scummy piece of shit, Joey warned, glowering at Dad. I might share your blood, but that's as far as it goes. You and me are done, old man. You can burn in hell for all I care. In fact, I sincerely fucking hope you both do. I felt a hand clamp gently down on my shoulder then, startling me and causing me to groan in pain. It's okay, Tig whispered, keeping his hand on my shoulder. I'm here. I closed my eyes as the tears trickled down my cheeks. You think you can talk to me like that? Dad wiped his face with the back of his hand and, in doing so, smeared a trail of blood up his arm. You need to settle the fuck down, boy. You're calling me boy? Joey threw his head back and laughed humorously. Me? The one who's been raising your fucking kids for most of my life? The one who's been cleaning up both of your messes, taking care of both your responsibilities, picking up the slack for 2 worthless piece of shit parents? Joey threw his hands up in outrage. I might be only 18, but I'm more of a man than you'll ever be. Don't push your luck, Dad growled, red-eyed and sobering fast. I'm warning you. Or fucking what? Joey taunted with a careless shrug. You'll knock me around? Hit me? Kick me? Get your belt out? Take a hurley to my legs? Bust a bottle over my head? Terrorize me? He shook his head and sneered. Guess what? I'm not a scared little boy anymore, old man. I'm not a defenseless child. I'm not a scared teenage girl. And I'm not your battered wife. Narrowing his green eyes, he added, So, whatever you do to me, I can promise you that I'll return it tenfold. Get out of my house, Dad hissed in a deathly quiet tone. Now, boy. Teddy, stop, Mam wailed, hurrying towards him. You can't. Shut the fuck up, woman, Dad roared, turning his fury on our mother. I'll break your face for you. Do you hear me? Flinching, Mam looked to Joey, expression helpless. Joey remained rigid, clearly fighting an internal battle, but he didn't go to her. You can't throw him out. Mam's words drifted away as she stared up in pure, unadulterated fear at the man she had married. Please. Tears dripped down her pale cheeks. He's my son. Oh, so now I'm your son? Joey threw his head back and laughed. Don't do me any favours. This is your fault, girl, Dad barked then, turning to glare at me. Whoring around the fucking town, making trouble for this family. You're the problem in this. Don't even go there, Joey warned, voice rising. Keep your goddamn eyes off her. It's the truth, Dad snarled, keeping his brown eyes locked on my face. You're a waste of space, and you always have been. With a cruel expression etched on his face, he added, I told your mother about you, but she wouldn't hear it. I knew, though. Even when you were small, I knew what kind you were. A fucking runt. Glowering at me, he spat. Don't know where you came from. I stared back at the man who'd spent my entire life terrorizing me. He stood in the middle of the kitchen, a formidable force to be reckoned with, two strong arms attached to fists that caused more damage to my body than I could remember. But it was his words, his tongue, that had damaged me so much deeper. That's a lie, Teddy, Mam strangled out. Shannon, baby, that's not... We never wanted you. Dad continued to torment me with his words. Did you know that? Your mother left you for a week in the hospital, debating whether or not to give you up until the guilt got the better of her. But I never changed my mind. I couldn't even stand the sight of you, let alone love you. Shannon, don't listen to him, Joey commanded, tone thick with emotion now. It's not true. The bastard's unhinged. Just block it out. Do you hear me, Shan? Block him out. I didn't want you either, Dad snarled, turning his glare on Joey. My heart's bleeding, Joey shot back, mockingly. Well, we feel the same about you, Tig growled, hand shaking on my shoulder as he stared at our father. None of us want you. Tig, Joey said in a low warning tone, panic lighting his eyes. Be quiet, I've got this. No, I won't be quiet, Joe, Tig strangled out, filled with more rage than any 11-year-old boy should be carrying. He's the fucking problem in this family, and he needs to hear it. Get him out of my sight, Dad roared, turning his attention to Mam, who was hovering slightly apart from both of them. Now, Marie, Dad bellowed, pointing a finger at her. Get him out before I do away with the little bastard. I'd like to see you fucking try, Joey taunted, shifting both Ollie and Sean, who were clinging to his sides behind him. No! Sniffling, Mam moved to stand between our father and Joey. You need to go. Dad took a step towards her, and Mam automatically cowered away, hands shooting out in front of her face. It was the epitome of pathetic. None of us ever had a fighting chance with these people. How could love and fear coincide in one human heart? How could she love him when she feared him so much? What did you say to me? He hissed, turning his fury on our mother. What the fuck did you say to me? Leave, Mam choked out, shaking from head to toe as she backed up a couple of steps. It's over, Teddy. I'm done. We're done. I can't. I need you to go away. You're done, Dad sneered, glaring at her. You think you're leaving me? He laughed cruelly. You're mine, Marie. Do you hear me? You're fucking mine. He took another step towards my mother. Think you can throw me out? Walk away from me? Just go, Mam strangled out. I want you gone, Teddy. Get out of our lives. You think you have a life without me? You are nothing without me, bitch, Dad roared, eyes wild and full of unrestrained madness. The only way you're leaving me is in a box, girl. I'll kill you before I let you leave me. Do you hear me? I'll burn this fucking house to the ground with you and your cunts in it before I let you go. Stop! A small cry tore from Ollie's throat as he clutched Joey's leg. "Make him stop," he sobbed, clinging to our brother like he held all the answers. "Please." "Are you a girl now?" Dad demanded, looking disgusted. "Toughen up, Ollie, you little bollocks." "That's enough, Teddy," Mam screamed, clutching her chest. "Get out." "This is my fucking house," Dad roared back. "I'm going nowhere." "That's fine," Joey stated in a cool tone before turning to look at our brothers. "Ollie, go outside and take Sean with you." Sliding his hand into his jeans pocket, Joey pulled out his phone and handed it to him. "Here, take this and phone Aoife, okay? Call her up and she'll come get us." "No, no, no!" Mam began to panic. "Joey, please, don't take them away from me." Nodding once, Ollie caught a hold of Sean's hand and hurried from the kitchen, running past the outstretched arms of our mother without hesitation. At 9 and 3 years old, they didn't trust her. Because they knew, even at their tender young ages, whether she meant to or not, their mother would inevitably let them down. "I told him to go. I told him, Joey, please, I choose you. Of course I choose you." Hurrying towards my brother, Mam fisted Joey's hoodie in her frail hands and looked up at him. "Please don't do this. Please, Joey, don't take my children." "What good are you to them when you can't keep them safe?" Joey demanded, unmoving. His voice was shaking, though, as our mother clung to him, begging him for one more chance to let us down. "You're a fucking ghost in this house," he bit out. "You're wallpaper, Mam. A mouse." He ran a shaky hand through his blonde hair and hissed, "You're not good for us." "Joey, wait, please don't do this." Clutching my brother's hands, she dropped to her knees and began to beg. "Don't take them from me." "I can't leave them here," Joey strangled out, chest heaving. "And you've made your choice." "You don't understand," she cried, shaking her head. "You don't see." "Then get up, Mam," Joey choked out, tone pleading. "Get up off your knees and walk out of this house with me." "I can't." Shaking her head, Mam exhaled a broken sob. "He'll kill me." "Then die," was all Joey replied, tone void of all emotion. "Let him go, Marie," Dad barked, tone laced with malice. "He'll be back with his tail between his legs. Cunt is useless. Won't survive a day on his own." "Shut up!" Mam screamed, louder than I've ever heard her. Sniffling, she scrambled to her feet and swung around to glare at Dad. "Just shut up. This is all your fault. You've ruined my life. You've destroyed my children. You're a fucking madman." Whack! Our mother's words morphed into a wailed cry as our father's fist connected full force with her face. She dropped to the floor like a sack of stones. "Think you can talk to me like that?" Dad snarled, glowering down at Mam. "You're the worst of the lot, you fucking whore!" It took Joey all of 2 seconds to backtrack on all he had just said, because his hands shot out as he roughly shoved Dad away from her. "Keep your fucking hands off my mother!" He shoved him hard again. "Don't touch her!" Crouching down, Joey attempted to pull Mam to her feet. "Mam, please." His voice cracked as he knelt on the ground and brushed her hair back off her face. "Just walk away from him." He cupped her face in his bloodied hands. "We'll figure something out, okay? We'll sort this. But we can't stay here. I'll take care of you." "Who the fuck do you think you are?" Dad roared, menacingly, lunging for Joey. "Think you know it all, boy? Think you're better than me?" Clamping his huge hand around the back of Joey's neck, he forced him onto his knees. "Think you can take her away from me? She's going nowhere." Dad pressed down harder, shoving Joey's forehead to the tiled floor. "I told you I'd put manners on you ungrateful little bastard." He pressed his knee into Joey's lower back, rendering him helpless. "Think you're a man now, boy? Show your mother what kind of a man you are, crying on your knees like a little bitch." "Stop it!" Mam screamed and pulled at my father's shoulders. "Get off him, Teddy." "I'm more of a man than you," Joey hissed, voice muffled from the force it was taken to hold himself up with the weight of our father looming over him. "Oh, you think so?" Dad grabbed a fistful of Joey's hair, reined back, and then slammed his face into the tiles. "You're a piece of shit, boy." Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Joey planted his hands on the tiles once more and heaved his body up, desperately trying and failing to break free of our father's hold as he continued to slam his face against the tiles. The sound of bone crunching filled my ears and my stomach churned, but Joey refused to give in. "That all you got?" He bared his teeth, blood glistening over white as he snarled and fought wildly against Dad's hold. "You're losing your touch, old man." "Get off him!" Mam continued to scream as she pulled at Dad's shoulders. "Teddy, you're going to kill him." "Good!" Dad roared, throwing an arm back and knocking Mam away once more. "And you're next, you turncoat whore." Trembling violently, I moved to do something, but I couldn't. I couldn't get my limbs to move. I didn't have the strength left inside of me to get back up. Years of mistreatment, mixed with the beating I had just taken, had driven me to the point where, at 16 years old, I couldn't stand up on my own 2 feet. Pathetic, I remained slumped on the chair Joey had set me in, with blood flowing freely down my face and my heart slowing in my chest. I was dying, I realized. That, or my body had gone into shock. Either way, something was very wrong with me, and I couldn't help the one person who had never failed to help me. With my head spinning wildly, I watched through glazed eyes as Joey managed to twist his body sideways, only for them both to end up wrestling on the floor. My heart plummeted into the pit of my stomach when Dad came out on top once more. With his hand curled around Joey's throat, he closed his fist and began to hit him repeatedly in the face. Joey bucked wildly beneath him, desperately trying to get out from beneath him, but it was no use. Our father had at least 40 pounds on him. He's going to die. The fire in my heart screamed, "Save him!" I tried. Panic-ridden, I tried to get to Joey, but I just couldn't move. I felt like I had been paralyzed. "Help her!" I could hear Joey strangle out, coughing and spluttering. "Fucking help her!" Help who? Help who, Joe? Every few seconds my vision went blank, and I knew that meant I must be drifting in and out of consciousness. I also knew that this was a bad sign, alerting me to the fact that he had hurt me worse than before. So much worse. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Tig move for the cupboard. Yanking open one of the drawers, he withdrew a knife, and without a hint of hesitation, he lunged. "Do it." I sent a silent plea to the heavens above to give my brother the courage to just do it. "Get off my brother!" Tig screamed as he held the tip of the knife to our father's throat, hand steady as a rock, eyes locked on our father. "Tig, put down the knife," Mam cried, moving slowly towards him. "Please, baby." "Fuck you!" Tig shot back, never taking his eyes off our father. "Get off my brother." "Do it, Tig," I silently prayed. "Make him stop forever." "Don't be stupid, boy." Dad laughed, but there was no humor in his voice now, just apprehension. "Good. Be afraid." "I'm not stupid," Tig replied, voice deathly cold. And I'm not Joey. He stepped closer, pressing the tip of the knife that bit closer. I won't stop because Shannon says so. My heart broke. He was 11 years old, and this was what they had turned him into. I was praying for him to kill our father, to finish this off. What the hell did that make me? A part of me wanted to beg my brother to just stick that knife through me so I could be done with it all. We're all so strong, and I was weak. I wasn't tough enough. I couldn't bounce back like the rest of them. I was defected. Tyke! Joey panted from the floor, chest rising and falling quickly as he drew in breath after desperate breath into his lungs, our father's hand still wrapped around his throat. It's okay. His face was covered in blood, his nose clearly broken again. Both of his hands were wrapped around the one hand Dad had pinning his throat. Just take it easy. It's not okay, Joe, Tig replied, voice void of all emotion. None of this is okay. What are you going to do, boy? Dad sneered, still straddling Joey, but his bloodshot eyes were full of anxiety and locked on my little brother. Stab me? Yes. Calling his bluff, Dad reached a hand up to take the knife, but quickly flinched away as a trickle of blood ran down the side of his neck. Jesus Christ, Tig! He bellowed, throat bobbing nervously. You cut me! This ends now, Tig replied, taking another step forward. Get off my brother and get out of this house for good, or I'll slit your throat and you can die. I wasn't sure if it was immense relief or bitter regret I felt when I watched my father release Joey and climb to his feet. A mixture of both, I suspected, though it was hard to form coherent thoughts any more, so I couldn't be sure. Too tired to hold up my own body weight, I leaned forward and rested my cheek on the table. Taking in quick, short breaths, I tried to hold still, to not move and jostle my bones. Everything hurt so bad. The taste of blood in my mouth, trickling down the back of my throat, made me gag. Shuddering, I whimpered from the reflex and just stopped moving altogether. I resigned myself to the sensation of it sliding down the back of my throat, to the metallic taste of copper on my tongue. Feeling woozy and disconnected, I allowed my eyelids to flutter shut, blocking out their voices as they shouted at one another by concentrating on the erratic beat of my heart as it thundered in my ears. Fucking help her, will you? Thump, thump, thump. I'm going to kill you, Marie. Thump, 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 thump. Get the fuck out. Thump, thump, thump. You're a dead woman walking. Thump, thump, thump. Door slamming. Thump, thump. I love you, Shannon, like the river. Thump, thump, thump. Devastation flooded my body, joined by deep regret. Johnny's face a beacon of lost hope behind my closed eyelids as I accepted the hand I'd been dealt. Hot tears of bitterness and regret dripped from my lashes, splashing onto my cheeks and mixing with the dried blood. I felt so sad, like I'd been robbed. Maybe in another life things could have been different. I could have been happy. I think I need you for keeps. What's wrong with her? I heard someone demand then, someone who sounded an awful lot like Joey's girlfriend, Aoife. Why is she bleeding out of her mouth? Don't look so scared. I won't hurt you. Shannon! Shannon! Jesus Christ, do something! Tell me who put their hands on you, and I'll make it better. Look what you've done! I heard my mother scream. I'll look after you. Call an ambulance. You're safe with me. She's dying. He killed my sister and you're doing nothing. I won't let you fall. It's okay, I've got you. Call a fucking ambulance. Stay with me. I could feel the warmth of two hands against my face and revelled in the gentle touch. Can you hear me? Joey's voice filled my ears. I'm going to get you out of here, okay? Just keep kissing me. Shannon, can you hear me? I love you, Shannon, like the river. Shan? I felt something poke at my eyeball then. Joey's fingers, I realised, as he lifted my lids. Shannon, come on, talk to me. Eyelids fluttering open, I forced myself to focus on his terrified-looking face as he stared right back at me. I'm going to get you help, okay? He exhaled a ragged breath. The ambulance is on the way. I opened my mouth to respond, but nothing came out. My lips couldn't form the words I needed. Shannon, breathe. My mother crouched in front of me then, kneeling beside Joey's feet, touching my face with one hand as she held a bag of frozen peas to my chest with the other. Breathe, Shannon, she kept repeating. Breathe, baby. Was it helping? Was it making it worse? I didn't know. I only knew that I couldn't breathe. The scariest thing was that I didn't care. I wasn't panicking. I wasn't scared. I was just done. Shan, Joey repeated, voice rising as fear enveloped his features. Shannon, please. Crouching down in front of me, he placed both hands on my shoulders and gently shook me. Jesus Christ, Shannon, talk to me. I tried, but nothing came out. Coughing, I began to gag against the foreign taste of metallic as it spilled out of my mouth in a thick, oozy gush. My head lolled to one side, brought back to an upright position when Joey held my face in his hands. Aoife, give me your keys, he strangled out, green eyes glued to mine. Releasing my face, he moved out of sight. I'll take her myself. Joey, don't move her. She could have internal... Give me the fucking keys, baby. Without the strength of his hands holding me up, I automatically slumped forward, only to sag heavily against my mother. It's okay, she whispered, wrapping her arms around me, fingers moving through my hair. Everything's going to be fine. I wished I could hold my own weight and not lean on my mother. I didn't want her touch, but I'd nothing left inside of me. The last thing I remembered before darkness enveloped me was my brother's touch as he folded me into his arms, followed by the sound of his voice as he whispered the words, "Don't leave me," in my ear.
2. Balls high. Johnny. No rugby for at least 6 weeks. Father. Bed rest for 7 to 10 days. Father. Your feet won't be touching the grass until May. Father. Torn abductor, adhesions, and athletic pubalgia. Father. Rehabilitation. Fuck. Fist in the blankets around my body. I threw my head back and stifled a roar, knowing that if I had another outburst, I was going to get bleeding sedated again. I was on thin ice with the nurses stationed down the corridor from my room. Getting out of bed to take a piss and collapsing on the floor beside my bed had rendered me blacklisted. I'd been given a huge bollocking for not asking for help. Reminded I had a catheter in place, and then given another shot of whatever the hell it was they kept flushing into my IV. They told me it was for pain, but I was suspicious. I was high as a kite. Nobody needed that volume of drugs in their system, not even me. The idiot with the self-proclaimed broken dick. Jesus fucking Christ. Blinking away the blurriness, I tried to focus on the wall opposite my bed, with the television mounted to it, and Pat Kenny hosting the Late Late Show. But it was no use. I kept zoning out, my thoughts leading me back to that one word that had been haunting me, playing around in my brain like a broken record. Father. 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 Stop! I growled angrily. Even though I was alone in the room, just fucking stop talking. My mind was playing tricks on me, making me feel anxious and on edge, and I had the worst feeling in a pit of my stomach. My anxiety was so strong I could taste it. Painkillers, my ass. This was something that fucked with my head. Nobody was listening to me. I kept telling everyone that something wasn't right, and they responded by telling me that everything was fine, and then dosed me up with more of whatever the hell was currently flushing through my veins. I knew they were wrong, but I couldn't see straight. Never mind make sense of my worry. The more they didn't take me seriously, the more anxious I grew until I was drowning in concern over something I couldn't quite put my finger on. It was a horrendous fucking feeling. My mind was reeling. Only one word playing inside my head like a broken record. Father. And only one voice repeating that same word over and over again. Shannon. I had no idea why I was reacting the way I was, but my heart was going 90. I knew this because every time I thought about her, the machine I was hooked up to started beeping and flashing. I didn't cope well with anxiety. It just wasn't in me. Adrenaline? Absolutely, but fear? No. I didn't fucking do well with fear. Especially when the fear in my heart was for another person. When I did manage to train my eyes on the television, I kept thinking, what the fuck is Pat doing on the telly? The Late Late Show was a Friday night programme. But hey, what the hell did I know? Not a lot, apparently, since I couldn't distinguish between what night of the week it was. Sagging back on the mattress, I blinked away the drowsiness and tried to think clearly. Furious, I twisted my head from side to side, seeking more. Something wasn't right. In my head, in my body. I felt like I was trapped, a prisoner of this bleeding bed, and it sucked balls. Furious with the world and everyone in it, I tapped my fingers against the mattress. I did a recount of the ceiling tiles. 139. Christ. I needed out of this room. I wanted to go home. To Cork. Yeah. I was that fucking desperate that I didn't want to be in Dublin anymore. I was having a come to Jesus moment and wanted nothing more than to be back home in Ballylagan, surrounded by all that was familiar to me. To be back home with Shannon. Jesus. I messed up real bad with her. I reacted horribly. I was an idiot. Anger swelled up inside of me again, joined by the depression and devastation that followed every time I thought about what my future held, which was every minute of the day. Pain. I was in a hell of a lot of pain, but my body was the least of my worries right now, because I had lost hold of my bleeding senses. My head was gone, lost, back in Cork with a fucking girl. Bored and restless, I glanced out the hospital window at the darkened sky and back to the television screen. Fuck this. Reaching for my phone, I shakily scrolled through my contacts, struggling to make out the names through the haze, until I found a number I had dialed at least 12 times in the past God knows how many hours or days, and pressed call. With a great deal of effort, I managed to hold the phone to my ear and waited, with bated breath, listening to the obnoxious ring sound, until I was greeted by his monotone voicemail. Joey, sitting forward. I tried to shift my body into an upright position, only then pulling some wires attached to my body that had no business being there. Call me back. Exhaling a pained grunt when I felt the stinging sensation shoot up my legs. I focused on getting the next sentence out without slurring. I need to talk to her. I was fairly sure I slurred my words anyway, considering my voice sounded foreign to me. I don't know what's happening, Joey. Maybe I'm fucked in the head. I'm high as balls, but I'm worried. I've got this bad fucking feeling. Beep. Well, shite. Feeling thoroughly defeated, I ended the call and dropped my phone down beside me before slumping back on the pillows. Was I hallucinating this whole thing? No. I knew I was in the hospital. I knew she had been here to see me. But maybe I was concentrating on the word father, because I'd been so surprised to see my own father here when I opened my eyes. Mashing my lips together, I ignored the tingling, numbing sensation and tried to think clearly. I was missing something. When it came to Shannon Lynch, I felt like I was always 3 steps behind. Drowsy, I tried to keep my head clear, but it was impossible with the warm, tingling feeling inside of me, demanding I close my eyes and absorb the feeling of nothing. If you want to know what goes on inside that head of hers, then be worth it. Fuck you, Joey, the hurler, I slurred, throwing the covers off my body. I am worth it. Dropping my feet to the floor, I caught a hold of the IV pole and pulled myself into a standing position. Every muscle in my body painfully protested the movement, but I forced it down and staggered towards the door. Johnny, Mam exclaimed when she found me in the hallway a few minutes later. She was holding 2 plastic cups in her hands and staring at me with a horrified look on her face. What are you doing out of bed, love? I need to go home, I grunted, dragging my IV along with me, as I bared my ass to the world in the cloth hospital gown held up only by my broad shoulders. Right now, ma, I added, as I pushed off the wall I'd been temporarily resting against. Ignored the searing pain coursing through my body, and stumbled clumsily down the corridor. I need to go. Go? Mam barked at me. You've just had surgery. Rushing to intercept me, Mam placed her hands on my chest and glared up at me. You're not going anywhere. I am. I shook my head and tried to step around her. I'm going back to Cork. Why? Mam demanded, as she once again intercepted my move and blocked my path. What's the matter? Something's wrong, I bit out, feeling woozy and light-headed. Shannon. What? Concern flashed in my mum's eyes. What's wrong with Shannon? I don't know, I snapped, feeling agitated and helpless. But I know something's wrong. Frowning, I tried to chase my thoughts, to make sense of what I was feeling, but only managed to come up with, I have to help her. Baby, it's the meds, she replied, looking at me with this fucked up sympathetic gaze. You're not feeling yourself. I shook my head, at a complete loss. Ma, I croaked out harshly. I'm telling you, there's something wrong. What makes you so sure? Because... Exhaling heavily, I sagged against the wall and shrugged helplessly. I can feel it. Johnny, love, You need to lie down and rest. You're not listening to me, I growled. I know, Ma. I fucking know, okay? What do you know? I sagged in defeat. I don't know what I know, but I know I should know. Frustrated and confused, I blurted. But she knows, and I know. And she won't tell me, but I swear they all fucking know, Ma. Okay, love, Mam coaxed, wrapping her arm round me. I believe you. You do? I croaked out, feeling drowsy, but slightly sated. Thank Jesus. 'Cause nobody's listening to me round here. Of course I believe you, she replied, patting my chest as she led me back to my room. And I'm always listening to you, pet. You are? I hate being lied to, Ma, I added, resting far too much of my weight on her slim body. And she's always lying to me. My nose twitched, and I mashed my lips together, trying to fight off the numbness in my face as a familiar scent wafted up my nostrils. I like the smell coming off you, Ma. I sniffed again, inhaling the scent. Smells like home. John Paul Goodyear, Mam replied, pushing the door of my room inwards, same as I always wear. It's a good smell, I agreed, nodding to myself as Mam dragged me back into my room. I'm glad you approve. Mam chuckled. What am I supposed to do now? I frowned at my bed, watching through a blurred haze as my mother pulled back the sheets and patted the mattress. Sleep. Yes. You're supposed to go to sleep, love, Mam encouraged, tone coaxing. Everything will be a lot clearer in the morning. I scrunched my nose up. I'm hungry. Go to sleep, Jonathan. I don't like Dublin anymore, I grumbled, flopping back onto my bed. They're starving me to death in this place. I closed my eyes, body sinking deep into the mattress. And all the bleeding drugs. I felt the covers being draped over my body once more, and then a soft kiss on my forehead. Go to sleep, love. Father, I mumbled, drifting off. I hate that word.
3. Keep breathing. Shannon. Shan, can you hear me? Joey? I'm right here. I can't see you. I felt a hand slip into mine. Just stay with me, okay? I'm scared. Please don't leave me. I don't want to. We're nearly there, Shan. Nearly where? Just keep breathing, okay? Don't let me die here, Joey. Is she breathing? Aoife, is she breathing, baby? Please. I don't know, Joe. There's a lot of blood. Help me. Just help her. Sobs. Make her fucking breathe. I don't want to die.
4. Dropping pennies and bombshells. Johnny. When I woke up Monday morning, it was to a clear head and a tsunami of pain. Regardless of how much pain I was in, I knew I wasn't going to complain about it. Not when there was a high chance they would shoot me up again. Pain relief of the liquid kind that was flushed through your veins was a bad idea. No joke. I'd been mostly out on my ass since my surgery, high as a bleeding kite. because every time a damn doctor or nurse checked in on me, they deemed it necessary to click the fucking button attached to the line in my hand and flush more of the crazy into my system. According to the team of doctors I had met earlier this morning, aside from the holes in my body from the surgery, I've been so distressed and uncooperative on Saturday, pulling at my wires and trying to leave the hospital, that it had been safer to keep me partially sedated so I could rest up and heal. My parents and Gibbsy had been in and out all weekend, visiting my crazy ass, but I'd been completely out of it, ranting and raving like a demented lunatic, screaming about fathers and rugby balls. Yeah, that was bleeding embarrassing. I was grateful that I couldn't remember. Feeling aware for the first time in over 48 hours, I pulled myself into an upright position, ignored the shooting pain in my thighs, and reached for my phone off the nightstand. Thankfully, someone had the good sense to put it on charge for me. Ignoring the plate of food the nurses had left on my bed tray, I blinked the sleep from my eyes and scrolled through the million missed calls and texts I'd received since my life fell apart last Friday evening. 4 missed calls and 1 voicemail from Coach Dennehy. Jesus. I shuddered at the thought of what he had to say to me. Deciding against being a masochist, I quickly moved on, checking through the others instead. 3 texts from Feely, 5 calls from Huey, a couple of dozen messages in the group text from the lads at the academy, 1 million more from the lads from school, my physiotherapist, 1 from Scott Hogan, 1 from my buddies at Royce, my PT, several more from lads I played with at the club in Ballylagan, many more from unknown numbers, or numbers I didn't have saved in my contacts list. 2 from Mr. Toomey, the principal of Tommen. 1 from Coach Malachy. 7 texts and 12 missed calls from Bella. Fucking Bella. Frustrated, I ignored the voicemails and read through the countless get well messages, deleting each one as I went until I was left with a blank screen. Nothing from Shannon. Not 1 measly text message. Fair enough. She didn't have a phone right now, but Joey did, and he had my number. Pissed off, I scrolled down my contacts, found the name Joey the Hoiler, and pressed call. The anger inside of me increased with every ring that went unanswered. When I was connected to his voicemail, I felt like I was 2 seconds off exploding. Drugged up or not, I knew I'd called him at least a dozen times over the weekend. I remembered that much. And being ignored didn't sit well with me. Joey! Gripping my phone with more force than necessary, I strove to keep my tone neutral, even though I was peppering with anger. I need to talk to her. I didn't give a shite how he interpreted this. I didn't give a fuck what anyone thought anymore. I had a niggling feeling in the pit of my stomach, one that no amount of sleep or hospital drugs could dissipate. Listen. Clenching my eyes shut, I attempted to be diplomatic and failed miserably. I know there's something fucked up going on. Nice one, Johnny. That sounds nuts, I know, okay? But I've got this terrible feeling. Jesus, that was a head case. Shannon said something to me, or I dreamt she said something to me, but it's stuck in my head and I can't. Look, I'm not even sure anymore, but I need to talk to her. I need to clear some shite up, okay? So just answer my fucking calls. A beep sounded in my ear, letting me know that I had run out of time. Asshole. I grumbled and then dropped my phone on my lap, only to flinch in pain at the contact. Gingerly, I removed my phone, placing it back on my nightstand before lifting the covers, pulling back my hospital gown, and taking my first sober, clear-headed look at the damage. I tilted my head to one side, studying myself. Not bad. My hips, both thighs, and groin were all swollen, ugly and bruised, with bandages covering the parts of me that had been cut open. But my 3 favourite body parts were still very much in one piece, so to speak. My dick was there, and my balls were keeping it company. Frowning, I studied myself, feeling oddly violated that someone had shaved my balls without permission. But decided against being pissed about this. I was sporting an impressive semi, probably due to the excitement of still being in one piece. So I was taking this as a win. Thank you, Jesus. Covering myself back up, I exhaled a sigh of relief and pulled the tray laden down with food towards me, feeling my appetite return with a vengeance. You're okay, I continued to mentally chant to myself as I chowed down on a rasher. You'll heal. You'll get back on the pitch, and everything will be okay. But she won't be. A small voice in the back of my head hissed. And you know why? Tearing viciously into another rasher, I continued to dwell and mull over every moment I had spent with Shannon Lynch from the day I knocked her out with my ball to the moment I sent her away from this room. I figured it was a coping mechanism, avoiding my feelings about my impending therapy and prospect of losing out on the under-20s. I couldn't think about rugby right now. If I did, there was a very good chance I'd have a meltdown. Therefore, I locked my focus on Shannon Lynch, obsessing about every teeny tiny insignificant detail until I was sure I would explode. Something's wrong. Something's wrong, and you know it. Open your fucking mind and think. Dropping my fork and knife, I shoved the tray away and reached for my phone again, redialing Joey's number. I clutched the phone and prayed for an answer. My anxiety was festering inside of me to the point where I couldn't think beyond anything other than her. When I was greeted with his voicemail again, I lost it. Listen, fucker. I know you're getting my messages, so you can either answer your bleeding phone or text me back. I'm not going away until I talk to her. Do you hear me? I'm not going the fuck away. Morning, love, Ma'am chirped as she walked into my hospital room, interrupting me from the one-way conversation I was having with Joey Lynch's voicemail. How's your penis today? Give me strength. Call me back, I muttered, before ending the call and gaping at my mother. I brought you some flowers, she continued without waiting for an answer, setting a bouquet of, I had no idea what the hell they were called, on my bed tray. You've been so upset. Smiling, she padded over to my bed and fussed with my blankets. I thought these might cheer you up. How's my penis? Gripping the bedsheets around me, I yoinked them up to my chest, not trusting that she wouldn't pull them off and check for herself. Do you think that's a normal thing to ask your son? Ma'am shrugged. Would you prefer if I called it a willy, love? Jesus Christ. Well, I'm not 6-year-old, ma, so no, I wouldn't prefer that. I bit out, eyeing her warily as she hovered at the side of my bed. And it's fine. Ma'am worried her lip. Are you sure? I'm sure, I snapped, baiting her hand away when she, like I had predicted, tried to pull down my blanket. Christ, ma, we've talked about this before. You need to start respecting my boundaries. Huffing out the breath, Mam sank down on the edge of my bed and patted my cheek. Will you at least show your father? She gave me a bleeding look. I'm so worried. There's nothing to worry about, I grumbled. It's fine. I'm fine. We're both fucking fine, Ma. I'm in a hospital, you know. Yes, but trust me, I'm fine. I gave her the thumbs up. It's all good, Ma. Ma sighed heavily. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever trust another word that comes out of your mouth. She bit down on her lip and gave me that horrific, wounded mother look. The one that always cuts me deep, designed to make a son feel like a piece of shit. You really let me down, Johnny. Christ. Twist the knife, why don't you? I know, Ma. Christ. And I did. I really am sorry. Knowing she wouldn't let it go until I compromised, I forced out. So, if it'll make you feel better, I'll show Dad when he stops by. Mam smiled, appeased, and I sagged back on my pillows, grateful to have dodged that particular bullet. Were the doctors in this morning? I nodded. Yeah, they were first thing. She looked at me expectantly. And? They let me home in the morning. That soon? I rolled my eyes. It's been 3 days. I didn't have heart surgery. I know, but... Concern flitted her features. I think you should stay another few days, love. The rest will do you the world of good. She leaned over and stroked my cheek. You're looking so much more rested as it stands. Imagine what another few days could do for you. It's going to be okay, I told her, feeling like shit for putting unnecessary stress on her shoulders. I know the rules. But will you follow them? She muttered under her breath. I won't mess this up, I told her, looking her straight in the eye. I won't, Ma. I'll do the bed rest. I'll do the rehab. But then I'll be going back. Her face fell. I steeled my spine, knowing I couldn't give in to the puppy eyes. I don't think you should play anymore, Johnny. I'm going to play, Ma, I replied quietly. No. Yes, Ma. Johnny, please. I'm playing. I can't stand the thought of you getting hurt again. Ma, this is what I'm going to do, I explained, trying to keep my tone gentle. I know it's not what you'd have chosen for me, but it's what I've chosen for myself, okay? I'm good, Ma. I'm better than good. This is what I was meant to do in my life. I can't not play because you're afraid I'll get hurt. I shrugged. That could happen crossing the road. But it didn't happen crossing the road, Mam shot back. Every hospital bed you've ever occupied, and there's been more than those that I can count in 2 hands, has been a direct result of you playing rugby. She shook her head. I don't understand why you're so hell-bent on injuring yourself. You don't have to understand, I replied, knowing there was 0 point in trying to explain this when she was hell-bent on stopping me from playing. You just have to support me. Why couldn't you take up golf? Mam sobbed, dropping her head in her hands. You're good at golf, love, or swimming, or tennis. I reached over and patted her shoulder. Because I'm a rugby player. Oh, Johnny, just support me, Ma, I said gruffly, sitting up straight. I pulled her in for an awkward half hug, and I promise I'll make you proud. I'm already proud of you, you big idiot. She sniffled, batting away her tears, and that has nothing to do with bleeding rugby. Good to know, I muttered. I think. Now, Enough of making your ma cry, Mam said, as she forced a smile and stood up. Tell me how you're feeling. I'm fine, I replied, wary again. I just told you. Emotionally, she replied, pushing the tray with my food back to me. I want to know how you're feeling in your heart. Pulling open a napkin, she set it down on my lap and poured a cup of tea from the pot. Eat up, Johnny love. 'Tis out of your belly your Mickey grows. Scared, I choked out, grabbing my fork. I feel emotionally fucking scared, ma. Mind your language, she scolded, swatting the back of my head with that left hand I'd been dodging like a bleeding matrix most of my life. You were raised, not dragged up. Biting my tongue, I shoved a stone-cold rasher into my mouth and chewed viciously. Good boy, Mommy praised, ruffling my hair. Dear Jesus, save me. Please save me from this fucking woman. How's the man at the moment? Gibbs's familiar voice filled my ears, giving me a much-needed reprieve from the woman hovering around me like a bleeding helicopter. All right, lad, I replied, locking eyes on the blonde Egypt who had been my best friend and partner in crime since childhood, as he stood in the doorway of my hospital room. Good morning, Jared, Mam chirped happily. Did you have a nice sleep, love? I left a fresh change of clothes outside your door this morning. Mam paused and gave Gibbsy a quick once-over before smiling in approval. Ah, good. You found them. The beige goes lovely with your complexion, pet. I did, Mammy K, he replied, with a butter-wouldn't-melt smile. You're too good to me. I rolled my eyes. Well, I'll leave you two boys to it. Give you a chance to catch up. Pressing a kiss to the top of my head, Mam strolled over to the door, where she received a kiss on the cheek from Gibbsy. I'll be in the canteen if you need me. I love that woman, Gibbsy announced when Mam was gone. I narrowed my eyes. Forks make good weapons, you know. She's so fucking... You'll have no eyes left in your head if you finish that sentence, I warned, wielding my cutlery like a weapon. Gibbsy chuckled. How are you feeling? Like I got mowed down by a truck on Friday night, I grumbled, lowering my fork. That good, huh? Don't start, Gibbs. Relaxing my shoulders, I grabbed the sausage and took a bite. I'm in a shit ton of pain, and I feel like I haven't slept in a month. I can't do humour today. Well, at least your appetite is still intact, he offered, eyeing the huge plate of rashers, sausages and toast I was inhaling. Don't judge me, I grumbled. I took a knife to the balls for this. Swallowing a mouthful of pork, I reached for a rasher. I deserve grease. He grimaced. Fair point. Yeah. I deadpanned. I know. So, he asked, eyeing me with barely contained excitement. Would you say that you're back to your full senses now? I shrugged. Unfortunately. Gibbsy nodded. And your heart? I narrowed my eyes. What about it? It's not going boom boom fucking boom today. No, I replied slowly, knowing I was somehow walking myself into a trap, but clueless as to how. It's fine.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.